Hey everybody, welcome back. Let's talk about the power of great website design, the ROI of design on the web. I want to make sure that you stick with me to the very end of this video because I'm going to share with you 3 big website design takeaways that you can put into action on your site today. All right, so let's jump into it. First of all, people make snap judgments. People take only about 1/10 of a second to form a first opinion about someone, a first impression when they meet someone new. And when it comes to websites, it's exactly the same thing. In fact, a Google study showed that it takes 0.05 seconds, that's 50 milliseconds, for viewers to form an opinion about your website. And that opinion dictates whether they'll stay or whether they'll leave. And if people leave, you have 0 chance of getting your message across to them. And if people stay, well, let's say your chances are a little better than 0. Okay, so what are first impressions on a website based on? It turns out that people form their first impressions on things like site structure and color and spacing, or how light or how dense a website is, on symmetry and balance, how easy it is to navigate, the volume of text, things like fonts and more. Now, by knowing these are the things that matter, we can begin to have more control over how people experience a website and therefore what they actually do. So how do you create a website that actually visually appeals to people? First of all, you have to ask yourself the question, what do people want to see? Research shows that people want low visual complexity. They want white space and they want easy legibility. They want simple design. They want a site to feel familiar. Now, what does familiar actually mean? It turns out that they want your site to look like what they think it's supposed to look like. Meaning they have, when they come to your website, an expectation of what a business in your category's website should look like. And you really shouldn't diverge from that too much, because looking radically different than what they expect to be seeing when they come to your website means that they're going to be disoriented, and that's not ideal. You don't want people to have to think or to have to figure out anything when they come to your website. So if you design a website that's unconventional or radical or super innovative and not what people are expecting to see when they come to a website like yours, they are more likely to click away faster. So now let's talk about how much time you have and what's really important in grabbing people's attention on your website. Studies have shown that it takes about 2.6 seconds for a user to really get a deep first impression of your website. And they've done some really deep eye tracking studies that show that this happens mostly above the fold, meaning before anyone actually starts to scroll. And there's 5 areas that are of key importance that happen above the fold. 1 is the logo of the company, 2, the main navigation menu, 3, the main banner image, 4 is the written content, and 5 is the layout design. When it comes to content, they spend 5 seconds on assessing content. Now, how much content can you actually read in 5 seconds? So the key takeaway here is that you got to make sure that these 5 elements, the logo, the navigation menu, the banner image, the written content, and the layout design, really look great. Now, I want to take a quick break and tell you about a great video series that GoDaddy is doing on their channel. It's called News and Trends for Small Business. GoDaddy's been tapping industry experts to share their tactical insights on how to build, market, and grow your small business. And recently, I did a video for them on the power of brand archetypes. The video is called What is a Brand Archetype and Why Your Small Business Needs One. Did you know that by identifying your brand's archetype, you can get consumers to relate to your brand on a really deep human level? And by choosing an archetype, you really kind of tap into that unconscious caveman brain that actually drives about 90% of our decisions. It's really, really cool stuff. So check out the video that I just did for GoDaddy. The link is in the description of this video. All right, now let's get back into it. In 2021, British researchers analyzed how website design and content influence trust levels. And they found most website critiques focused on design and not on content. In fact, 94% of the feedback that people gave was about things that were related to design. How complex it was, whether it was busy or confusing layout, whether there was poor navigation menus or navigation aids, how they used color, whether there were pop-up advertisements, whether the print was too small or there was too much text. In fact, only about 6% of the feedback was about the actual content. Visual appeal and website navigation had the biggest influence on people's first impressions of a website. It turns out that poor design caused rapid rejection and distrust of websites. And if people thought the design was bad, they went no further than the homepage. Now, Stanford University did a study on how viewers judged websites, and they found out that what people said about a website and then what they actually did, what they clicked on, was very different. They said that the content was important, but in eye tracking studies, it showed that they didn't read the content. Their eye tracking showed that they paid much more attention to the design of the site, what were the visual cues, rather than its content. 76% of consumers decided the credibility of a site was based on the visual appeal of the design, including layout, typography, font size, color schemes, etc. Okay, so at the beginning of this video, I said I was going to share 3 big website takeaways that you could put into work right away, and here they are. Number 1. You got to make sure that your above the fold area really rocks, because most people bounce from websites in under 7 seconds, which means they don't even start scrolling. It means your above the fold section on your website has to work really hard for you. Number 2, focus on clean, simple design. Don't get too crazy. People get confused really easily. Tricky, trendy navigation and design confuses people, and if people are confused, they click away. And finally, number 3, imagery matters, and too much copy on a website is a killer. People aren't deciding to stay on a website based on what they read. They're not even taking the content into consideration that much. Their impressions are mainly based on color, imagery, fonts, and layout, so pay attention to those things. So here's the bottom line. Great design gets people to trust you and to stick around longer, and poor design creates mistrust and makes people leave. Even when judging a website's usability or its actual functionality, people gave higher rankings to sites where the design was good and they liked it, even though the true usability or the functionality of the site was lower. So what is the ROI of great website design? It's getting people to stay. Because people click away, you have no hope of communicating with them. You have no hope of getting them as a customer. And if they do stay, you do. So you need to invest in design. Statistically, it's the thing that matters most for pulling people in and keeping them on your site. So that's it. Thanks for watching this video on the ROI of great website design. And if you liked the video, hit the subscribe button, bang the notifications bell, and then head on over to my website, philipvandusen.com. If you need help with your brand strategy, your brand design, or your professional creative career, reach out to me and let's see what we can do to take you to the next level. And with that, thanks again for watching. Bye for now.